Well, it wasn't the prettiest of wild card weekends, we can say that for sure. None of the 4 games were really that close at the end. A lot of ugly play on offense, but it's the NFL playoffs. It's still exciting in its own right. We're going to break it all down in this edition of Snap Judgments. Let's start with the first game of wild card weekend, the rematch Texans-Bengals. Slow start for both teams, but the Texans really too much. Cincinnati couldn't really do anything on the offensive side of the ball, and Houston sets up a rematch with New England next week.
Right, and if the Texans hadn't kicked field goals all day, obviously it would have been a bigger blowout than that. I mean, since he really couldn't get anything going. A.J. Green blanked in the first half. Took him a while to get him involved. You know, and the running game was inconsistent. But, you know, the Texans can't be kicking field goals against New England. They know that from the first matchup. It was 21-0 before the game even started, it felt like. And there were stretches when that Texas defense actually played pretty well. They can hang with them for certain parts, but they've got to be more efficient offensively. Matt Schaub, I'm still not convinced he can get it done in this game, but we'll see how it goes.
And the next game that night was Packers-Vikings, which was just a weird situation. Christian Ponder, a game-time decision, does not play. Joe Webb, who didn't throw a ball all year, gets the start.
It looked like it too, right?
Yeah. And that first drive, they looked pretty good moving the ball. You could see what they were going to do with the zone read and running Adrian Peterson. You can get their game plan, but obviously the Packers are going to be too much. And that 24-10 score seemed a lot bigger than it was. You know, good season for the Vikings, and the Packers roll on, set up a rematch with the 49ers.
I suspected Ponder's elbow would be a problem. I didn't know he wouldn't play. I mean, that was something that developed in probably the 18 hours leading up to the game, but it's clear they didn't have enough of a package that they trusted Webb with. His throwing accuracy was terrible. His final numbers, very deceiving as far as what he actually did during the game. A couple of garbage touchdowns, or a couple of garbage drives, I should say. So the Vikings come up short. Adrian Peterson only can take them so far. They've got to improve the quarterback position. That means Ponder playing better. But the Packers, even though they don't play a complete game, probably one of their better efforts in recent weeks.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, you know, getting Jordy Nelson fully healthy, and DeJuan Harris been a nice little revelation there at running back for them. We'll see how that offensive line holds up against San Francisco. It's going to be a key matchup next week. On Sunday, we had Ravens-Colts, a lot of great storylines in this one, emotional storylines. You got Chuck Pagano against his former team. Ray Lewis returns, maybe his final game in Baltimore. The Ravens win 24-9. The Colts had their chances in this one, and the Ravens held tight when they needed to, holding Indianapolis to field goals, a couple big interceptions by Baltimore. We saw some Andrew Luck rookie mistakes, but still some big plays by him. Baltimore was on a rematch with a Denver team that handed it to them in Baltimore. Now they got to go play them in Denver.
Right, and that defense is on the field all game, including Lewis, who played way more than I thought he would, but that defense is going to be tired. They're going to have to go out there to Denver, a rested team, up in the altitude. It's going to be cold. They're already calling for temperatures in the teens, and Peyton Manning give him a second crack. He actually didn't play that great in the first matchup. Was kind of held in check early before he got it cranked up in the third quarter. He's going to have a lot to do with this, the offense in terms of breaking down this Baltimore defense. So I'm looking forward to the rematch. I think it might be a little bit tighter, but Peyton Manning, I think, has the edge in this one.
Well, if Anquan Boldin makes some of the catches he made this week, next week, that can keep the Ravens alive. But he did nothing.
0 catches. That's right. Yep.
Time. Torrey Smith also didn't really do anything against the Broncos. Ray Rice held under 40 yards rushing against the Broncos, so they got to figure things out on offense if they want to beat Denver. The final game was really the marquee matchup. Rookie quarterbacks Russell Wilson versus Robert Griffin III. Everyone's going to be talking about RG3's knee goes out. You know, we saw he was injured early in the game. Shanahan keeps him in. The Seahawks come back from a 14-0 deficit, win 24-14. Now they go play the Atlanta Falcons in the next round.
Yeah, first road playoff win since 1983. They beat Dan Marino that day, but obviously the big story, as you said, is Griffin and the discussion they had on the sideline. Mike Shanahan said that Griffin told him, I can keep going, I can keep playing, even though all of us watching, I'm sure people in Washington were watching saying, he can't be out there with this knee. The stability has already been compromised with that LCL injury. We don't know if there are any further injuries. He looked like he hurt himself pretty badly before he came out of that game. Early on, the Redskins really took it to the Seahawks, but they hung tough. Wilson made some huge plays. The defense really boned up there. Great performance. We'll see if they can do it at Atlanta.
Yeah, something's going to have to give next week. Seattle, can they win 2 road playoff games in a row? And can the Falcons actually win a playoff game with Matt Ryan at the helm? Those are our snap judgments from the first round of the NFL playoffs. To see all of our analysis from Wild Card Weekend, head to our website at profootballweekly.com.